Hello, everybody. For those of you who are new to me, I'm Michelle Carpenter, and I am a medium, and I am a channel for the Council of Eight. And I have a wonderful podcast called Keeping It Real. So here I am sharing a bit about my realness, and because my experience in this life and my allowing in this life and my allowing on these connections, these videos, is to share that I am a wonderful spirit having a human experience. Haha, I feel like drum roll. um, fuck. The last week and a half for me personally, and I hope this again helps you in any way, I feel like I've been in the ringer. I created an old experience of my childhood, and it was not pretty, it was not nice, it was not ideal, it was just shit. And I've had this expression, let's shift our shit. Well, believe me, my shift is shitting. So my shift is shitting. Sorry. My shit is shifting. I got it. As you can hear, I'm processing. My nervous system took a massive deep dive, a massive toll in the experience of what happened. And I'm not going to go into the story as it is my story, and it is I'm still working through it. I'm still allowing my heart to process. Last week, I really, I did a video and I self-judged myself so much. I did a channeling afterwards, and I'm kind of finding out how I can bring the channeling through because it was amazing. And I'm going to channel after this connection with you all and just sharing with you all. But I just wanted you to know that we are shifting our shit at a rapid rate. And I knew that this year was going to be intense. I knew this year I was shown that it was going to be challenging. But woof, no one could have ever, even if I had like I'm trying to look to see if I've got a little fluffy toy around. But if I had a little fluffy toy sitting here and saying, Michelle, this is going to be hard, I would have never believed them. And this was an experience of where, honestly, life felt blissful. It felt amazing. It felt incredible. And then the shit just hit the fan. And basically what happened was I went back into a massive, deep wound of my old trauma, a massive old childhood experience had been recreated. What had happened with these humans that were arguing and fighting, there was a lot of alcohol involved, and I did not enjoy that. I never enjoyed it. And I have a glass of wine every now and again. I'm a very light drinker, and I'm even questioning that at this moment in time. Like I've said before, I love whiskey. And when I say love whiskey, like one whiskey and water or one whiskey and soda with a lot of ice is what I drink on for 2 hours. But this experience had involved whiskey, let me be very clear. And it wasn't a 2 hour session, it was a glugging. I was very thirsty and not consciously aware of how quick I was drinking it. And basically, this whole story ensued, and there was this massive amount of energy that needed to be shifted emotionally. The emotions were raw, the emotions were chaotic, the emotions were triggered. Myself and my husband and my son, we were all triggered, and this was way before there was even alcohol involved. And I'm sharing this with you again in the hope that, just know that we are all going through some stuff at this moment in time, and maybe some of you aren't. So I'm not wanting that to be a projection. Some of you perhaps aren't even experiencing anything at this moment, and yay, good for you. This experience was massive for me. I'm still, as I said, you can hear snotty coming out of it. Oh man, it was just crazy. My nervous system took a huge blasting, and it really reminded me of being 3, 4 year old little Michelle, who had felt unsafe many times when there was alcohol around. And this wasn't only about just the experience of my family, this involved other human beings, and it wasn't pleasant for me at all. And I ran, it was, I'm a runner, not marathon runner at all. Okay, these pins do not run, but what I mean by that is fight, flight, fright, or fawn. And I went into flight. I couldn't handle anymore by the time that this experience was created for me, for my healing and for my husband's healing. And I don't know who else is receiving the healing in that moment, but when I start to build the dots or put the pieces of the puzzle together, I'm like, yep, that's what happened there, that's what happened there. And basically what had happened is, at the end of this whole day of my nervous system being all over the place, two, interesting enough, female, male, who didn't even know each other, ended up getting into, after a lot of alcohol, ended up getting into a massive fight where there was a lot of swearing. And I have come from a similar background, and I did not like it. So I went to my husband and I said, please give me the keys. I had alcohol in me, not a lot, but it was just, my body was just not tolerating. So why am I saying this? Why am I sharing this with you? Is that, guys, what I'm coming to learn is that for me, I love having a social drink every now and again. But it's not the be all and end all. It's not my beginning, it's not my end. It doesn't serve me, and that's what I'm beginning to realize. And yes, there is a part of me that is giving it up. And again, I'm an absolute lightweight, and a part of me goes, oh, what? But I'm putting this out there, and Michelle, but now you're stating, I'm putting a flag, and I'm stating my claim, and I'm saying, this is it, I'm not drinking alcohol anymore. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, I'm doing this deep dive of exploration based on this experience and the story of what had happened. And my little girl did not feel safe. My inner child was really, really, really feeling a lot. And hence my body's now releasing a lot of this. So no one was right, no one was wrong. It just was. And it was for the healing that needed to happen. And, I'll say to anybody, it's wonderful when we're sitting here, or anybody sitting opposite me. And for those of you who I've had the privilege of working with, I know that I dive deep. And I'm very grateful for all of you that have allowed me to walk with you on your journey. And the beautiful space that we get to is where we want to ultimately exist. And that's part of this churning and the share and this, like, we've got to get rid of it, got to get rid of it, got to get rid of it. And the story of what happened for me last week was not in any way what I would love to create again. It was shit. And it sucked. And it was deeply, deeply traumatic for me, and deeply traumatic for my husband. And we're finding a new way of being together because it was not ideal. And it involved other people too. So where am I going with this? It's time to shift your shit. For those of you who are watching this, for those of you who perhaps think I might be a bit harsh right now, know that it is time to shift our shit, because this is where we are going through these deep squeezings of letting go of so much of the old. And in order for the new to come out, it's kind of like, think of it like this. So this beautiful plant behind me, some of the leaves are going brown and the others are green. And then it's me taking a scissors and cutting the brown, or pulling the leaves that are way brown, because that's the old, in order for the new to come through, in order for the new to vibrate in a different way, to bring the green out. So this is what we're doing humanly wise as well. I'm not too sure what is happening out there with the planets. The astrologists would know. A friend of mine shared something with Pam Gregory. I haven't watched it. I love Pam. She shares beautiful, beautiful, insightful things that are happening with the planets. And so please go ahead and tune into her channel. I'm about the human experience. I'm about sharing this realness and the vulnerability and the chaos that ensued, and the old wounds, the old trauma came up. So no, it wasn't ideal. So for those of you who are feeling like you're in a washing machine, guys, hang in there. Please hang in there. We have seen so many frustrations, anger. Last week was my fight or flight moment, and deep levels of sadness, deep levels of anger were shown in many different ways. by all of us involved in the story, and it just wasn't nice, you know, it just wasn't ideal in any way. So let me show you this. I picked this up in my emotional state last week, and I want you to have a look at this leaf. For those of you who are looking, I mean, isn't it beautiful? But in all the leaves, and we're in autumn right now, in New Zealand, so there's leaves everywhere, and this was the one leaf amongst thousands that was there, and I was like, oh, I've got to pick that up. And I picked it up and I looked at it and I thought, I'm going to use this as an analogy for where we are at. So do you see this is our spine, okay? This is our spine connected to everything. This could be feminine, this could be masculine, this could be masculine, this could be feminine, depending on, you know, your left to right, what you're looking at. But you see how everything's deeply connected in this leaf. There's the spine as well, different side. It's all connected. And the trauma feels like this. It feels like the pricks. It feels like these rough edges. Let's say we start from here and we move up, 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 up. But the every now and again we have a smooth spot which is in here. And then the trauma is the one that's the prickly, but yet the spine is the one that's always holding us together. And this is the spine, this is our soul, which is strong. The rest is everything that's connected to it, the stories, the journeys, the experiences, the adventures, the highs, the lows. But trauma can feel incredibly prickly, and that's how it felt for me. And it's wonderful living a life of bliss and like everything's awesome. Excuse me. Everything's awesome. We've got this shit together. Hey, wonderful being out there in the field. And I would say 80% of the time, that's the space that I'm in my blissful space. And it's taken a huge amount of work in letting go, shifting, intergenerational. Excuse me, I'm shifting some stuff now. Intergenerational trauma. Excuse me. Old experiences. My own trauma, my own soul is shifting. And as I'm sharing this with you, my body is shifting. My body is exploring. And I can feel I've got grieving coming up right now. And let me tell you, this is now the third time I'm recording the session because I have deeply judged myself on crying. And that's the little girl inside of me who wasn't allowed to cry. I just realized that in this moment. So the coughing is an exploration of letting go in our lungs, letting go in my throat, not being allowed to speak up. And this time I'm going to put this out there. But I did one last week and I was in my trauma. Right now my body's releasing and I can be consciously aware of that. I can be like, this is where I'm at. But again, I wasn't allowed to cry often. I was told to, keep quiet. I was told, let me give you something to cry about. So that created a lot of fear inside of me, which clearly I'm still working through. And this experience, which happened for me, it didn't happen to me, is where I'm bringing myself back. Okay, so where to from here? Excuse me, I need to push pause and blow my nose, as none of you need to hear a snotty nose being blown, okay? But this is a part of my sharing, my expression of self, my rawness, my vulnerability, that however you choose to look at it, I'm sharing this with you all to know that, man alive, we have a big few months coming up. And they're amazing, yet they may be intense. They may be harder than what we could ever imagine. And this experience that I created was harder than I could ever have imagined. And I'm still sad about it. I'm sad for what happened. I'm sad for what transpired. Everything just that I thought was going to happen didn't happen. It was the opposite. The pendulum swung. So, having said that, I have some good news, and I want to share this with you all. Hang in there, guys. Hang in there. Throughout this pendulum swing, throughout this massive deep dive of my trauma, the prickly parts, the shitty parts, something good always comes out of it. Always. And if you can always look at the gift, there's always going to be a gift somewhere along the line. So hang in there, okay? And this is part of what I was gifted and shown, and this is what I want to share with you all today that I'm super excited about, is once a week on a Monday, which is New Zealand time, and I'm going to share with you when we start. On a Monday from the 15th of May, so not next week Monday, because you guys in the States and the rest of the world will be Sunday still. The 15th of May at 8 to 9:30 every Monday, we are bringing the Council of Eight community together, and it is $16 per week to join. As what the gift was that I got out of this, and this is part of me just sharing again, me being a little girl. I don't know about any of you, but last week I felt incredibly alone. I felt lonely. And this was again part of how I felt, massive part of how I felt as a young girl. I felt incredibly alone, I felt lonely, I felt misunderstood. I was told to zip it. So I'm sharing this with you so that we can come together. We can come together in no matter how we are, no matter who we are, no matter what space we're in. And the Council of Eight, we're going to open up with a heart meditation. We're going to open up with connection. The Council of Eight will deliver a message. They have shared that I think between 5 and 8 people will, so please come with a question. It could be for yourself, but they will ask individuals questions and they will answer the questions. And I think this is just a really great way of creating connection, creating wonderful, expansive connection. So no matter where we are, no matter, show up, no matter how you're feeling. If you're having a shitty day, show up, because my hope is that with them sharing is that actually I know that when they share, we all transmute, we all shift, we all go through this collective gathering of consciousness and awareness where our stuff is no longer our stuff anymore in that moment in time. So how exciting is that? So please share it with anybody. Like I said, it's $16 every week. Please go onto my website, www.michellecarpenter.co.nz/bookings/ I don't know why I say it like that, but anyway. It's kind of a cool word, eh? Backslash. I just felt like I was in a past life there, slashing. Not ideal. Oh my God, you see how I go off? You see? This is the wacky and the weird. Welcome. And this is what it's about, guys, is just sharing the backslashes. And, you know, we all are walking this journey together, and we're all working incredibly hard right now to shift, to bring in the new vibrations, to bring in the new awarenesses, to bring in the new consciousnesses of all of us. So please go and sign up. I look forward to having you all. I look forward to being with you all. We're all going to do this massive big hug. Even though we cannot touch each other, we're going to feel it. We're going to feel the visceral sensation of being together. And as you can well hear, I'm supercharged for it. And I'm excited to have you all together. And from my heart to all of you who are going through massive change, massive amounts of old coming up, my heart is with you. And know that us that have been deeply wounded or felt hurt or victimized or holding on to our trauma, the squeezing is where it's time to let go. And again, the story that ensued, the experience that happened, I would have never, ever, ever thought in 1,000 years that that was going to be happening the way that it did. But it was created for me to change. It was created for my husband to change. And in the change is awesomeness. In the change is where we see and share and shine our lights brighter. Because in every experience, in every deep dive, in every traumatic space that we go into, which for me was massive, let me share with you. It took me 3 to 4 days to come out of this process of just being on. And I then realized I needed to do a deep dive into my heart to express how I was truly, truly feeling. And I had a beautiful friend who does the most magic shiatsu, and she held space for me. And I sobbed my heart out. So if any of you are feeling this way, if any of you have created a massive, massive, massive experience of old, know that this is all part of the letting go. As hard as what that may be, like, and you maybe want to throat punch me, some of you. I felt like that last week. Know that it is part of the letting go. And it's part of the solar eclipse. So there may be a little bit more to come. Hang in there. We've got this, guys. So please go and sign up, share openly, share, and let's come together in our openness of love. Love is why we are here. No matter, no cell inside of me doubts that. I love you guys. And I will come back to do a channeling. It will be a separate one, and we'll have to see what they've got to say. Have a beautiful day, no matter where you are in the world. Bye.